Hello everybody. I wanted to take this time to go over our chassis suspension upgrades. We just got back from a trip to Key West. We ran about 2,300 miles and we got to do a good test on the suspension. In this video I'll put a list of all the parts I put in and how much they were, uh, as far as what we did to the RV, so that you can have a good list. Now, we have a 2014 26HE as a 16,000 pound Ford chassis F53, so that's what we were working with. And our chassis is loaded close to the 16,000 pounds, or right at it. We did our trip to Key West. We got to drive in some uh, pretty difficult situations there. In fact, I have to say I was a bit apprehensive. We were going over, if you've been out to the Keys, there's several high bridges. Well, the day we were due out there, the wind was 27 to 31 miles an hour continuous. And I have to say I was a little bit nervous about going over some of them bridges. But I want to let you know about, we added in, we did rear dual auxiliary sway bars. We did the front sway bar, and we enlarged that. And we didn't go all the way up to the 2 inch because it was too stiff for our chassis. So we did the 1.5 inch. That went from 1 3/8 to 1.5 inch. We did the track bar, and we did the Conan shocks with the sumo springs, plus the super steer stabilizer for the steering. And I will tell you that it did a fantastic job, much improved over the original chassis. I don't know that I'd been able to make those bridges without the upgrades on the chassis. My coach was terrible to drive in the wind or when trucking. It swayed and really kind of felt like it was out of control. So when we get hit these bridges, like I said, the wind was 27 to 31 miles an hour. It was no problem. You could counter steer for the wind and still feel like you were in control. Also, if you've been out that road, there's trees on either side. So when the trees would break, like a bridge or something, the wind would pick up from, like 10 miles an hour to 30 miles an hour. So big, but it was very easy to control that the steering. You still had to make corrections. You weren't completely out of making corrections, but it made a huge difference in how the steering was, how the coach felt, and I wasn't tired after driving. Now, most of our trips are somewhere between 200 to 300 miles normally is a trip we'll take. I try not to get much over 300. You can also drive the coach now about 65 miles an hour very comfortably. I usually put it on cruise control and do about 65. That's a very good speed. You're not fatigued. When the semi trucks, there is some counter steering still to be done, but overall it has made a huge improvement. I really believe it takes all of the suspension improvements overall to really to get where you're trying to get to. And there's some more to go from that. You could do liquid springs or these new click shocks they've got now. That might be another good option. But in my particular case, I did most of mine from Super Steer, is where I purchased it from. And in my case, this was worth every penny. I spent about $7,000. Now I put all the parts on myself. I don't know what they charged to put the parts on, but I did them myself. Put them on. They were just. If I had to redo it again, it would be the first upgrade I did to the coach, and I would do every single one of them. Now we were very fortunate on our coach. Not only is the control from the sway bars much better, but the sumo springs and the Conan shocks have improved the ride. Now I'm going to say the ride is about maybe 60% better than what it was originally as far as jarring goes. So the sumo springs and the Shocks have definitely did a great job there. The sway bars and radius rods have brought the control of the coach, I would say, 75% better. So it really takes that fatigue out of you. So if you're looking to do your coach, and of course you need to size all this to your coach because it'll make a difference on how your coach feels and handles. And I'm told that I have a short coach, so my wheelbase is short, so we would have a rougher ride than some of y'all that have the long coaches. But I have found that with the options that we have put on, it has done a fabulous job. I would recommend it highly. If you're thinking about doing it, I would definitely do it. We drive our coach probably 6,000 miles a year. We usually take a couple of trips a month long at a time. And so it really makes it much, much more comfortable. Another thing that's probably helped us a great deal is we did a lot of sound deadening in the front. And so we have almost no noise in the front. The biggest thing I hear is wind buffering about 60, starts about, I don't know, about 58 to 60 miles an hour. And of course gets louder as you get going faster with that big windshield. But it definitely, if you are considering upgrading your suspension, I would recommend doing all of it, to be truthful about it. I would do the sway bars. That helped with the control as far as wind and semi trucks, and the radius rods are right in there with that. I think that reduces your counter steering on your radius rods, and your sway bar reduces your lean. Now I did a little test on, I did a video on it, and it reduced the lean about in half. Mine, the worst it got was 8 degrees from what I could tell. And from what I've seen from Super Steer's video, without anything, was 20 degrees. So that really helped a great. Like I said, the radius rods, they help with the steering and back and forth. Also, the steering dampener kind of helps hold that together. The Sumo springs and the shocks, great improvement on the suspension as far as the rough ride. I would say I think it would be fair to say we had a 50% improvement on the rough ride as you hit the bad roads, as you're going. Our coach is very comfortable, easy to talk back and forth, and definitely do some soundproofing if you can. We did it wherever we could, engine box, dash, whatever. That was very good. But I want to do this video and let you know that the upgrades for this F53 was worth the money to do it. I hope this is helpful for somebody who's thinking about upgrading their RV. And if you have any questions or comments, just leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer them. All right, guys, have a great day.